bunch, and the Utes trying to pick up their 7th straight win this afternoon in the desert. Arizona State in the white, Utah in their road blacks. And we start off with ASU owning possession.
Let's call them in the pink.
Yes, the pink is popping for Arizona State. It's the breast cancer awareness game. Skinner from the mid-range, right on cue, couldn't get it to go. And an early rebound for Maye Touré, 6'3" graduate student out of France. Touré, pump fake and a drive inside. The athleticism being shown off early for the transfer from Rhode Island, and a trip to the free throw line not even 30 seconds in.
I think that was a great move. Really gets both teams going on both ends, just waking them up. Arizona State is going to have to move their feet and stay in front of the Utes so that they're not sending them to the free throw line.
It's been an issue for Arizona State all year long, and Arnacia, we've talked about it, keeping opponents off of the free throw line. In fact, one of the worst in the country at doing that. Natasha Adair, the head coach for Arizona State in her 3rd year overall, former head coach at Delaware and Georgetown, as the free throw goes down for Touré, and Utah on the scoreboard first. And you mentioned those pink unis. It's a sharp look for Arizona State.
These look good. I actually was talking to a few former teammates earlier today. We were reminiscing on the pink jerseys we got to wear, and we prefer these.
You're envious.
Not envious, but we're happy to see that they didn't have to endure.
Early two for Jaylen Brown, the Sun Devils' leading scorer at nearly 18 points per game. In the first meeting against Utah in December, she had 22. Here's a wing triple for Kennedy McQueen, one of the best three-point shooters in all of college basketball, 42%. And she is a Ute through and through. She's very close to breaking the all-time record for games played in the program. As an offensive foul there will go against Kennedy Basham, who was trying to set the screen for Skinner. The head coach for the Utah Utes, Gavin Peterson. What a year it's been for Coach Peterson. He was the associate head coach for 5 years. Of course, Lynn Roberts left midway through the non-conference portion of the season to take the Los Angeles Sparks job in the WNBA. It was a whirlwind moment for really this entire program. All they've done is respond and respond in a big way. 16-4 is Coach Peterson's record so far as the head coach. As an air ball there will send possession back to ASU. But you got to imagine, I mean, that was a big-time shock to the system. Your head coach leaving, taking another job, albeit to the professional ranks, but in the middle of your non-conference season, it shows a lot about the mental toughness of this Utah program. Yeah,
the timing there is definitely something that impacted it the most, I'm sure. But for them to be able to step up and still play in their system or even switch into Gavin's system, it's been very telling. Yeah, seamless transition. In fact, just over a week after he took the job, they beat the #3 team in the country in Notre Dame. Yeah. Just goes to show them banding together. Jaya Levesque knocks down a 3 right in front of the Utes bench. She is an exciting prospect for this Sun Devil squad, sophomore from San Gabriel, California. Jaya's been really good at coming up and hitting those big-time shots. Here's Touré. Off to Jenna Johnson, 6'2" senior. And an offensive foul will go against Utah. The screen by Touré was so good, it was illegal. We have another look here at Levesque. Her on the three-point line is something that teams definitely need to pay attention. She will pull it, although she is looking to score and distribute the ball, and that she got lucky on, I guess. Yeah, they'll probably review that at the next time out. I'm sure it'll get moved to it too. Clearly, both feet were on the line. Skip pass, open 3, Neepkins, automatic. That was a great find by Vieta. Cross-court snipe into the triple. Will you remind me, is that something that they're able to look back on? Yes. Yes, if it's signaled, and I didn't see whether or not they threw their fingers in a circular motion. That's how you signal that you want to review it at the next time out. But yes, if that was said, they certainly can look at it. Neepkins dribbles into the front court. This is a Utah team that shoots 38% from downtown, nearly 38%, I should say, which is 11th best in the country. A travel there on Touré, Utah with 2 early giveaways. It seems both of these teams are trying to play so fast that they're just kind of making little mistakes that are causing turnovers on both sides. Yeah, so far that has been the case, and that is a bit rare for Utah, a team that turns the ball over the exact same amount as Arizona State, but they're still positive in the turnover margin because they force over 17 per game.
Here's Levesque. This time clearly a three. It's off the mark. Rebound up for grabs. Michaela Moore, who got the start today in place of the injured Kennedy Fauntleroy. And it goes out of play, and it will stay with ASU. Moore, who played a season-high 36 minutes the other night in ASU's road loss to UCF. Someone who really didn't play all that much through the first half of the year, but due to injuries, especially now that Fauntleroy is out of the folds, Moore not only getting more minutes, but starting in this one.
Yeah, Arizona State has had to fight through a few different...
Travel will go right back as both sides exchanging turnovers in the early going. A couple of offensive fouls, a couple of travels. Utah, you know their offense is going to get going. I mean, you look up and down their stat sheet, they're one of the best offensive teams in the country. 30th in points per game, 11th in both field goal and three-point percentage as well. There's Neepkins. Dishes back to Ray. Has a size advantage against Levesque, but the Sun Devils able to get the switch back. A three by Vieta. A little off the mark. Long board Neepkins. She pops the three. Rattles out, and the rebound falls to Moore. Sun Devils haven't scored in nearly 2.5 minutes, and an offensive foul will not help their cause. That's the second on Kennedy Basham, and will draw on an immediate substitution, not even 4 minutes in. Nevaeh Parkinson in for Arizona State.
Yeah, I didn't get to see that down there with Kennedy, but twice in a row it says that the referees are definitely watching inside, and they're trying to keep it cleaner than a normal game.
Michael McConnell, Michael Murray, and Jamie Broderick are officials in this Saturday matinee. Here's Neepkins off the dribble. Kick out to Ray. She can shoot it from down there. She shows off that shooting stroke. 33% from downtown. And look confident stepping into that one.
Yeah, Arizona State is seeming to have a little bit of trouble keeping up with people popping out to the three-point line. Definitely something that they're going to want to adjust.
That's the first matchup ASU's had where they've seen a team twice in conference play. And we mentioned Utah had extreme success in that first meeting, scoring over 100 points. They scored at least 23 points in every quarter of that game as Skinner misses from about 18 feet away.
Yeah, and I bet that's fueling both sides, because I would be wanting to score 100 or more again, and you definitely don't want to let that happen to you twice.
The ball movement for Utah. We talked about the points per game, the shooting percentages, but it's the ball movement that is really impressive the early going here. 10th in the country, nearly 19 assists per game. Hand back, McQueen. Here's Teray, dribbling past Parkinson to the lane and off window. That's a thing of beauty. Maye Teray.
Really good finish by Teray. Help side did come over, which we haven't seen too consistently, but she was able to just maneuver around it. Perfect.
Good start for Utah here in the...
See how it works is just be a step quicker. They're moving a step behind, so when the ball moves, they're watching, and then they're almost a second behind every single time. So it does make Utah look a lot quicker, but it could be that they're just not moving.
Something to monitor moving forward. Heavenly Greer into the game for ASU, seldom used post player for the Sun Devils, who plays just about 9 minutes per game. She turns around and misses a fadeaway badly. And here comes Utah ahead of the basketball. It's Vieta. The ultimate point guard for this Utes squad. Just 6 points per game, but 5 dimes and a tenacious defender. Another 3 that time, and a heat check, if you will, for Teray wouldn't go. Utes on an 8-0 run. ASU hasn't scored in over 4 minutes, and that drought will continue for now as Brown's 3 rims out. It will stay with ASU with just under 4 minutes to go in the opening quarter.
I would not want to be jumping with Teray in the paint there. Be really smart to find her and just box her out. Even if no one else gets boxed out, just box out Teray and everyone else go get the ball.
Yeah, she's been a rebounding fiend as of late for Utah, averaging 10+ rebounds over her last 4. Defending here in the post against Greer. That's a strong move, but couldn't get it to go. And there's that wingspan of Teray, leading to another board for the talented product out of France. Quick step to the basket, Neepkins. Now Teray out, kick to the corner for McQueen. 15 to shoot, step back 3. It's automatic. Kennedy McQueen, 42% from downtown this year. And the Utes have started off this game 4 of 8 from downtown.
Great decision by McQueen there to take that shot. I mean, we expect that from her, and for her to knock it down. Arizona State did not communicate there on the screen, which is why they got a little lost and she was open.
Slow starts have been a huge facet of ASU's season, unfortunately, for the Sun Devils. That's a great move by Jalen Brown. Got to try to get going really on this end of the floor before anything. Already down by 10 points. And Neepkin straight to the cup. Step through for a deuce.
That was a great move. Michaela Moore has been really good about stepping over for help side, and clearly she saw that she was able to step around her.
It's Levette from the mid-range. Torrid pace. You mentioned that earlier, partner. ASU always likes to play fast, as does Utah. And certainly that is the tenor of this game of the first quarter. Straight away to Teray. Right back, Neepkins. Again, the ball movement just so impressive. McQueen will drive and kick. Extra fine to the corner. Vieita's three won't go, but an offensive rebound keeps the possession alive. A pump and a drive for McQueen inside Teray. Had it poked free. Thrown down low into the awaiting arms of Levette. ASU just one of their last 9 from the floor. They're shooting 3 of 12 overall to start this game. Early 12-point cushion for Utah.
You definitely can look at their shot selection too when you mention that stat, because they're not taking high percentage shots, and that's affecting them.
Moore knocks down the three from the wing, right on cue when they needed a bucket. Michaela Moore, maybe not the first score you'd expect, just 2.5 points per game, but looked good there.
Yeah, she is really good for those big buckets. And I was going to mention earlier, as you said, she's been playing the most minutes she's ever played. She's having the opportunity to start today. Michaela Moore's done a really good job of stepping up for the Sun Devils when they've been having to find new rotations and finding people to be in the game. That can be effective, and she does a really good job.
A couple of different changes for Utah. In fact, a trio of subs into the game. Brooke Walker along with Reese Ross for Utah, and Michaela Moore will step out as well. A three off the inbound is rattled home, and guess who? It's Neepkins. 4th in the country at 19 points per game, and it's shots like that where you can see why. They've just got so many different weapons, Arnesia, and it makes it really difficult to defend. There's a foul inside. Solid take that time by Jazz Jackson, who got popped to the hardwood. She pops back up okay, though, and she'll shoot a pair.
That is good. But Utah does have so many tools, and they work so cohesively together. So they're always moving, looking for the next pass, and that's, I mean, always moving is huge, but always looking for it as well, because if you don't see it, you're not going to see your teammates. But they do a really good job.
Jazz Jackson, the sophomore from San Diego, 4 points per game, gets the first free throw to go. The other half of our DFA doubleheader finishes up tonight when the ASU men's basketball team takes on the TCU Horned Frogs. Both teams are coming off close calls on Wednesday. The Sun Devils dropped one in 2 overtimes at Texas Tech, while the Horned Frogs survived Oklahoma State with a 3-pointer in the last 5 seconds of that game. Catch ASU TCU coming up later tonight, 8 Eastern, 6 Mountain on ESPN+. Yeah, both ASU and TCU's men's teams played in thrillers to open up their conference week. Sun Devils and Bobby Hurley looking for a much-needed victory against the Horned Frogs later tonight. 10 to shoot. One poke free. It's Madison Wilkie who will regain possession. Junior from Beaver Dam, Wisconsin. Late in the shot clock. Kick to the corner. It's Ross driving baseline and scoring. There was no help side defense for the Devils, and Ross, who had a big game against ASU in the first meeting, had 19 off the bench, scores Hurley here.
Really good job by Utah playing through that. It gets a little stressful when you start hearing the time countdown, but they were so calm, and they found the absolute best shot that they could have found.
A 2 right back for Jalen Brown. 6 points in the early going for the Sun Devils' leading scorer.
On the other hand, you don't want to play that good of defense and then just give up a layup.
It's got to be a bit of a gut punch. I mean, ASU played solid defense for about 27 seconds of that possession, and it does not matter. Utah shooting 62% from the floor in this opening quarter, and now they'll turn it over as that pass from Johnson went high over the head of Neepkins. So Arizona State will hold for the final shot of this first quarter, we assume. And ironically, we mentioned in the first meeting, Arnesia, Utah scored at least 23 points in every quarter against ASU the first meeting. Look where they sit.
Right on track.
Right on track. Here's Skinner. Tough shot from the wing. A little heavy, no good, and it takes us to the end of the opening quarter. The Utes doing what they do best. Pass the ball at a quick knee state, they win. Then the team is told about all of this on Tuesday after that win. I mean, it was a whirlwind of a week for Utah. As an easy layup to start the second quarter by Brooke Walker, a freshman who's really trying to step into a role off the bench for the Utes.
Yeah, that is a lot for any team, but especially you would see it on a team who doesn't have as strong of a foundation as Utah clearly had coming into this season. Yeah, and this is a program that really has proven to be one of the more consistent ones on the West Coast. Second three of the ball game from Michaela Moore is knocked down, but of course, the Utes had phenomenal success the last 3 years in the Pac-12. They were a 5 seed in the NCAA tournament a year ago, expecting to be right around that same seed line when the tournament starts in, believe it or not, just less than a month. You pumped for March Madness? Oh, I am always pumped for March Madness.
I think we all are. Here's a wing three by McQueen. First miss from downtown today for McQueen. That's tipped out of play and will stay with Utah.
The most.
So you're seeing Michaela Moore step up for ASU, now tied for the team high. And the reason why she's getting more minutes, you look at the right cast on the hand of Kennedy Fauntleroy, a scorer that averages 9 points per game, a senior for ASU. And that was an unfortunate injury for the Sun Devils. Fauntleroy is someone who really was at times that second leading scorer, or at least that third option for the majority of the conference season.
Yeah, she definitely has an energy and like an essence she brings to the team when she's on the floor that keeps them energized. So I'm sure she's missed out there, but Michaela's doing a really good job of filling that role.
Nevaeh Parkinson, the transfer from UC Irvine, nearly had it pop free. It's Jackson inside, and she's fouled on her way to the cup. Nice burst of energy from Jazz Jackson. You mentioned what Fauntleroy can bring to the table for ASU when she was healthy. Jazz Jackson, kind of that defensive pit bull mentality. Yeah, Fauntleroy out for the rest of the year, and it's obviously a huge loss for a team that at times, with the exception of Brown and Skinner, has struggled to find consistent scoring. We've seen it from Moore today, but like we said, at times this year, it was Fauntleroy who was that third cog in the offensive attack for ASU.
Yeah, ASU has had many players rotate into that role this season. They haven't really found this solid core that can do it consistently every single game, but they do take turns for each other, which can be good as well.
It's Ross here on the wing. Utes have led this thing by as many as 12. It's a step back three that's cashed home by Wilkie. The transfer from Wisconsin, her second year in Salt Lake City, Madison Wilkie, 9 points per game, and a key part of this attack off the bench.
You said it earlier, it's tough to guard Utah because they have so many tools, but just knowing how well they play from the outside, I would let them kind of go inside rather than leave them open.
Yeah, with the way they've been shooting, and especially today, 6 of 12 now from downtown, but they've also been solid in the painted area. 8 points in the paint, outscoring ASU in that metric as Skinner is fouled hard. He'll pop back up and shoot 2 more. How about ASU getting to the free throw line so far? This will be their 5th and 6th attempts.
Yeah, they're doing a fantastic job of being aggressive and getting to the free throw line, because they do need to find a way to get these points on the board, and that is something we know that they do consistently, so that's good that they're doing that.
They're the best free throw shooting team in the conference, and they actually are going to say this foul is going to be called on the ground. Our points still remain, although they won't be shooting free throws here. We're not wrong. A near turnover that will actually end up going Utah's way. Nice job stepping in front of the passing lanes. It was McQueen. And for Utah, obviously Teray and Neepkins gets a ton of conversation, as they should. I was excited to see Kennedy McQueen, because I think if Utah is going to make a run, whether it be in the Big 12 tournament or in the NCAA tournament, McQueen's going to have to play big just like that. Right on cue, corner 3, Kennedy McQueen.
I had a feeling she was going to make her point for you there.
That was perfect. Made up for our free throw blunder a moment ago. Utes on top by 13. Here's Brown. 6 points so far in the day for her, 3 of 6 from the floor, and she flails down after she was fouled inside. The one thing ASU's really made it a point of doing so far in this game, trying to drive inside, and they've had some success in that area.
Yeah, we haven't seen it just yet because it's still early, but these fouls will probably play a game depending on, or play a big role in this game going forward. And if it's the Utah players that are contributed and killing it on the other side, it'll be huge.
Well, and already 2 on Teray, to your point, Arnesia, and 2 as well on Brooke Walker. 1 of 2 from the line for Jalen Brown. While the fouls could play a factor, ASU's got to start getting stops or else they're going to get down by so much it won't matter. Another 3 by McQueen, this time just off the mark. Hit back iron on what is a beautiful looking jump shot. And here comes Brown galloping into the front court.
I definitely wouldn't lose her out there.
No, you can't. It's one of those matchups you got to circle on the scouting report as Brown misses from just a step or 2 inside the 3-point line. They run it ahead. Here's Vieta. Off onto the wing, spot up Trey. Wilkie knocks down another. 2 of 2 from downtown in just 5 minutes off the bench. And it's Madison Wilkie providing the spark for the Utes.
Let me clarify earlier, because I said I would let them go to the basket. I didn't mean let them, but if I had to choose which I would want them to do, I would stop them from hitting the threes or getting the shots off that they wanted and make them earn it in a different way.
Well, it's got to pick your poison, because if you're allowing the Utes to drive just like this, Johnson can clearly do that. Misses the layup there. Mad scrum for the loose ball. Utah gets it back, and look out. Neepkins missed it, and ASU catches a break. Utah now 8 of 16 from the stripe, or from the 3-point line, I should say, in this game. Largest lead so far for the Utes. ASU has not made a field goal in over 4 minutes' time. See if it's Brown that'll try to change that. Yeah, she's able to get inside. Euro step around a defender, but missed it. Moore got it back off to Jackson. Extra find to Skinner. She'll pop the tough 3 and splash it home over the top of Vieta. That's a difficult shot for Ty Skinner, just 5'5" out of Washington, D.C.
That's a big shot.
Big time shot. Those are the kind of shots ASU's going to have to make in order to stay in this. As they get a stop here, as Wilkie couldn't connect on another triple. Skinner pushes the pace, kick out Moore. Couldn't get her third 3 of the half to go, and the long rebound tipped into the waiting arms of McQueen. Kennedy McQueen from a tiny town called Hannaford, Utah. Going to play for her home state flagship university. As we said, just 2 games away from passing over the all-time games played mark in program history. Tough layup won't go for Vieta. Utah's got a bit cold, missing their last 4 from the floor. Still lead it by a dozen. And it's Skinner from way downtown. That's off the mark. Shot selection. I know you talked about that in the first quarter, Arnesia. Skinner with a bit of a heat check there, but early in the shot clock, maybe not the best look they could have gotten.
Yeah, no, it definitely was not the best look they could have gotten. And I think Arizona State should find a way to run their offense and find that better shot.
See what they can do when we come back.
I always love the games where you get special jerseys.
Yeah. When we were talking with the legendary SID for ASU, Doug Tamaro, before the game, and he summed it up best. Anytime you get another uniform, that's the most important thing nowadays. It really does help recruit. Might seem like a small thing, and some of the old heads may roll their eyes, but...
Oh my God, I might be an old head. I never really...
No, because you said you liked it. Skinner will have a chance at a 3-point play.
Well, it wasn't a deciding factor for me. It was just a fun, little gift.
So Ty Skinner up to 5 points now out of the timeouts. I mean, that's just all ISO for Skinner and a solid take to the 10.
Yeah, something she has been good at this season that we and her team does expect her to do. For her to knock it down and get to the free throw line. It feels like she's being Ty Skinner.
Skinner, who is 12th in the conference in points per game. Wide open Golden Road to the bucket. Vieta couldn't hit, but Utah, I should say, will keep possession.
It's really tough that Arizona State cannot, and oh, that was good.
A turnover here, 6th on Utah. Here's Brown. top two will go. Arizona State's got this thing back down to within 7. An 8-0 run for the Sun Devils. Going to stay in it with the Utes, and that won't help. A big three by Neepkins. Again, her third of the first half.
What I was going to say earlier, though, before Jalen got that steal, it's tough for Arizona State because they're playing good defense. At times you can see they're getting the stop, but they're either not getting the rebound or not able to secure the ball, and then they have to reset and play that same defense again and again, and it really does start to wear on you the more you do that.
Big three by Ty Skinner right back at him. Sun Devils now 3 of their last 3 from the floor. Skinner with 9 points. 7-point margin. It's a 2-man game right now. Skinner against Neepkins. Mano-y-mano. 14-6 for Neepkins in this first half. Well on her way to reaching her season average of 19. Skinner says, okay, my turn, and we'll go to the stripe now to shoot a couple.
It's good. She had to work a little bit harder for that, but these shots on the perimeter, she's really good at as well. Quick, off the screen, looking for that shot. And then on the opposite end, she's able to drive it to the basket as well. And now she's at the free throw line.
So it's Skinner, who has been playing really well so far in this game, now into double figures. She had a great quote going back to Black History Month, and the meaning of that, I mean, reflect on the progress we've made, acknowledge the struggles we've overcome, and take pride in the legacy that has paved the way for the rights and freedoms we have today. I mean, that's summed up really well by a Sun Devil that is really well spoken. And Ty Skinner understands that. She's been with Natasha Adair throughout her entire college career, starting off at Delaware before transferring to Arizona State when Adair got the job here a few years ago. And a great quote there from Skinner. 8-point game, just under 2 minutes to go first half. It's been a wildly entertaining and high-scoring first half where the pace has been torrid all the way through. No foul call, but an easy putback as the shot clock expires for Jenna Johnson.
There's some Sun Devils, looks like they wanted some kind of call to reset, but you'd have to get the rebound and secure the ball.
10 of the 15 field goals made for Utah so far in this first half have been threes. As Brown off balance couldn't finish. Nice rebound by McQueen. Utah's looking to run. Thrown ahead, Neepkins ahead of the pack. And what a find by McQueen. 10th assist on their 16th made field goal.
Utah being able to find that in transition could be a tell sign of Arizona State getting a little bit tired having to play so much defense.
Yeah, it's got to be tough. I mean, ASU is used to playing at a pace like this offensively, but when you face someone that not only plays at this pace, but then also whips the ball around like Utah does, it will be tiring, even at this point of the year where we're almost done with the regular season.
And not even on the defensive end. Arizona State is having to work really hard to get their baskets on offense as well.
11 threes in the first half is McQueen. I mean, she's rolling right now, Arnesia. 4 of 6 from downtown.
Yeah, contrary to that, they're just finding these threes out there.
They're shooting the lights out of the basketball. They lead it by 15. They had that lull offensively midway through this quarter. Let's say they've woke up from their siesta. Slavette from 17 feet, got it to go. Good looking jumper from Jaya Levette.
Levette is always good for those pull-up jumpers inside.
Utah already at a season high in threes made in a game, believe it or not. Their season high coming into this game, 11. That came in a loss to top 15 TCU last month. And here they are sitting at 11, and we haven't even played 20 minutes of basketball. Wild. 20 of their 32 shots they've taken have been from downtown. And as we said, 11 of the 17 they've made have been three-pointers as well.
Yes. And I know we kind of talked about an adjustment earlier, but really going over their screens and cuts would be huge for Arizona State, just to completely eliminate that option and make them pick another poison.
Yeah. Neepkins' numbers there. I mean, she's one of the best scorers, one of the best shooters in the country. We said it earlier on, and she is guiding her team to a lovely lead at the half. 18 from Neepkins. The Utes well on their way to potentially hitting that century mark again. 11 threes in the opening start to their season, losing Lynn Roberts, who had guided this program to great heights over the last couple of years. But Gavin Peterson has this squad rolling. There was some question whether or not the Utes maybe would have a little bit of a letdown before they face number 20 Oklahoma State in their next game in Salt Lake City. So far, through 20 minutes, not the case. But they got to close out ASU as we're underway in the third quarter. It's Brown inside. No good off glass. Basham's back in there for ASU. Played just 4 minutes in the opening half. Picked up 2 early fouls. And same could be said for Teray, who had 2 early fouls. And now a reach will go against Jai Levette, it looks like, for Arizona State. And for Levette, that's her first.
Not a foul she wanted, but better her than Basham.
Yeah. Yeah, Basham, who at times this year, unfortunately for Arizona State, has fallen into this trap of early foul trouble. And it's so hard when you barely played in the first half to now come back in and try to find that rhythm, find that form. Never really found it in the early going. Here's a 3, and right on cue, a new season high for the Utes. It's Vieta knocking down a triple. That's her first, and why not join the party?
Why not? I feel like we could take a shot out here.
And not only now for Utah with the 12 threes are they a new season high, and we'll check on this as the half rolls on in terms of program records, but they're shooting it at a 57% clip. It's Saturday night of the All-Star Weekend for the NBA. There's going to be a 3-point shooting contest in San Francisco tonight. I think this Utah squad needs to have their charter fly to San Francisco after this.
That would be really exciting if they could do that.
With the way they're shooting. It's Brown now. Swivels underneath. Basham. No good off window. Offensive board. Missed the putback. And an empty trip for Arizona State.
They're having a tough time finding good shots down there. It almost seems like they're playing one-on-one versus Utah.
Right. What a move inside. That is just gorgeous. And McQueen had nobody within the same zip code as her. And the largest lead so far today for Utah. Just blitzing the Sun Devils out of the halftime break.
So that would be a downfall of following people over screens, like I say they should be doing. Arizona State followed her over the screen, but the problem is there was no one in help side.
Wow.
They didn't switch. There was no communication. Easy layup for Utah. Not easy, but smart.
Well, yeah, it was a layup line. It was a layup line for McQueen underneath.
But they set it up. That part's not easy.
Correct. Yeah, and it executed. The ball movement for Utah, now 13 assists on 19 made field goals. Here's Brown. Off to Moore. On the wing for Skinner. Johnson fell down, got back up, and stood like a brick wall. Skinner will have to hoist and miss it wildly. It's a shot clock violation. It goes back to Utah. I mean, the stark difference offensively for both of these sides, and yes, Utah's obviously hitting a ridiculous amount of threes, but the ball movement, the cutting, it's a stark contrast.
Yeah, all of that is playing a part in Utah's side, and also, we said it before, but shot selection is huge. And right now, Utah's shot selection is outside. That's why they're being able to say they're making good decisions. But
20 now for Neepkins, and another reason why the Utes have had so much success offensively. We could basically turn this into a novel in terms of the reasons they're having success offensively. But when they've missed threes, which hasn't been very much, they've been able to pull down offensive rebounds at a pretty solid clip as well. 7 offensive boards for the Utes. They throw it ahead. Johnson couldn't finish. It's almost a surprise when they're not hitting shots. Well on their way to running up a high total of points, as we mentioned, put up 102 in these two sides' first meeting in Salt Lake. Skinner now misses another. She's 3 of 10 from the floor. Utah's hit over 100 points 3 times this year. A couple of non-conference games, scored 105 against Southern Utah and 118 against McNeese State. in what was the final win for Lynn Roberts before she took the Sparks job. Jai Levette back in there for Ty Skinner. Sun Devils 0 of 6 from the floor to start this third quarter. Levette, tough shot, and got it. She's really solid at that mid-range spot inside the arc. And 6 points now for Levette.
Yeah, one dribble, two dribble pull-ups for Jai Levette are always good shots for her.
It's her move. Johnson, backdoor cut baseline. Oh, it's a thing of beauty again, and it's Neepkins up to 22. She's got a double-double with 10 boards as well. It's like a symphony watching this offense. And they're in rhythm, and they have been all day long. Brown from 17. 11 now for Brown, matching Skinner, the only two in double figures. They don't get back defensively, and why not? Neepkins again. It's like a no-huddle offense.
It's the best offense, really. You don't have to think, just throw it up, lay up.
56% from the floor now for Utah. All of their offensive records from the season seeming to be in danger of falling today. Brown scores her second consecutive field goal.
Arizona State seems to be really comfortable in that mid-range mid spot. I think they should keep trying to run their offense from that position.
Here's Vieta. Into the corner, look out, another. McQueen got it. Crown her. Kennedy McQueen, 13th three. 63-40. We've seen impressive three-point performances. You think back to what Iowa State did here in the desert against Arizona State, but honestly, this is blowing that out of the water. And starting to approach record books. Another break, 3-on-2. Kick out, could she do it again? You bet she can! Sixth triple for McQueen. It's a monsoon for the Utes. It's a busy day for ASU sports in the Valley. Baseball going on right now. Softball takes on Washington at 4 Mountain. We already told you about the men's hoops game against TCU tonight at 6. Softball in a doubleheader. They wrap up with Belmont, 6:30 Mountain. All of them on ESPN+. So what I advise, if you're a fan of Arizona State, you get the quad box going. If you got a smart TV, which, let's face it, it's 2025. I think all of us do.
Most people.
Get your 4 screens together and watch all of those games at once. You can see them right here, all on ESPN+. Another timeout on the floor. Utah rolling, shooting the lights out of the ball in Tempe. Shooting 59% from the floor, 58% from three-point range, 14 of 24 from downtown. And they have a game-high lead of 26 right now as Kennedy Basham will shoot a couple of free throws out of the timeout. Update you on a couple of stats that we gave you earlier, including a correction I need to make. I messed up. Season high for threes for Utah, 16. So they haven't surpassed it yet. I thought 11 was low. I double-checked my work, and I'm not sure what I was looking at. It's actually 16. They said it against UCF a couple of games ago. McQueen is close to her career high, which is at 22. Right now, Kennedy to McQueen at 20. Here's Teray. Spin cycle, cut off, throws up a wild shot, and a foul is called on Basham. That'll be her third. And a couple of free throws coming up for Maye Teray.
You can see Basham down there. She's a little frustrated with the call. It's tough playing defense. I mean, playing defense is tough, especially against quick, high-caliber players like that. But when someone is coming at you like that, as much as you want to suck up to them inside, you have to give them a little bit of space so that you can still move side to side and they can't get around you, if that makes any sense. I don't know if I'm painting a picture, but... No, yeah, that does make sense. And I think Teray's done a really good job in this game with a quick first step that has made it tough, whether it was Basham or Parkinson. Yes, she's closing that space, but yeah.
Why not another three? Wilkie, no. And a reach-in foul will go against Teray. That's her 4th. So she's going to have to check out. And the first time we see Samantha Crisp, a junior from Castle Pines, Colorado.
If the score was different, this was what I was talking about, being leading players having to leave the game.
Luckily for Utah right now, as it stands, they've got plenty of cushion. It's Brown. Pull up, off the mark. Program record for Utah, by the way, 21 threes. So they're still a ways off of that. 7 away from tying with just over a quarter to go.
Do you know what year they did that?
2023.
Oh.
In November of 23 against South Carolina State.
Okay.
You want the date as well? November 19th.
Yes. Oh, okay.
I don't know what I was doing that day. Brown will drive inside. Finger roll will go. Jalen Brown up to 15 points. You're testing me, your partner.
Yeah.
Well, that's a big thank you to the SIDs on both sides. They make us sound smart all the time. Appreciate all they do for us on the broadcast side of things. It'll remain Utah ball with 15 to shoot. Steve Rodriguez on the Arizona State side, of course. He's
great man.
The longtime SID, Doug Tamaro, who we already shouted out as well. Inbound here for Vieta. Pick and pop. Welcome to the action, Samantha Crisp. Shooting's contagious. She just entered the game for the first time and immediately buries the 15th three of the game for the Utes.
I'm sure she was visualizing that from the bench.
Yeah, well, you see it so much.
You know, they say visualization is half.
Wow, that was a Zen Master type quote. Parkinson at the turnaround too. Had to shout out Corey Holmes as well on the Utah side, finishing off the note about SIDs. Solid game notes.
They do think this job.
Yes, oh,
so
absolutely.
Good job thanking them.
Yeah. Here's Walker. Off to Ross, pick and pop 3 off the mark, and it's Michaela Moore to clear. Just over 2 minutes to go, third quarter. That monster matchup looms for Utah against really the hottest team in the conference. Offensive foul against Levet. Oklahoma State, they've been absolutely destroying people. I mean, what they did against Kansas State last week, that turned heads around the country. Up into the rankings now is Oklahoma State, and they'll be playing at elevation at the Huntsman Center in what is sure to be a really good matchup in just 3 days' time.
Yeah, they've been performing really well this season.
Yeah, they've stepped up and certainly taken it to another level in the top 4 of the conference. Who knows who the conference regular season champ will be? Utah still in play for that as well. I mean, everything's still on the table for Utah. It's so tight at the top, with K-State and TCU now dropping a couple. And it'll be a couple of free throws to come for Reese Ross. Love the way Ross describes her game. She says, look, I know I'm not the most skilled player on the floor at any given time, but I'm gritty, I'm tenacious. Similar vibe to what we described Jazz Jackson as, I think, for ASU. Just that bulldog, that pit bull. We got a Tyrannosaurus Rex playing Twister. Okay, well, it wouldn't be a game at DFA if we didn't show the curtain of distraction as Levet buries along 2. They'll review this at the next dead ball.
Yeah, there are a lot of players who are commended for their scoring and their attributes that are spotlighted every game, but there are so many things that bring a team together and make a team. So it is important to have those players, not that they don't do anything, but to be doing another thankless jobs,
right.
like rebounding and playing good defense.
The dirty work, if you will.
And being mentally tough for your team. There's a lot of things.
And certainly Ross fills that role, a sophomore from Rapid City, South Dakota. Here's Wilkie. Played off Crisp. Now on the wing, it's Ross. Wilkie will pull the trigger, can't get it to go, and Basham, who's back in there with that foul trouble, throws it ahead to Skinner after pulling down the board. Minute to go in the third. Basham, and she was fouled. Utah's done a really good job overall of staying out of foul trouble in this game. I know Moore, or rather Toure, I should say, has 4. But only 12 total team fouls against Utah in this game, and the same can be said for Utah, or for ASU, I should say. Only 9 fouls on the Sun Devils. A relatively clean game thus far.
Yeah, the refs have been doing a good job keeping it tight.
Basham's first free throw won't go. The transfer from Oregon. 7th in the country in blocked shots, but the problem for her today has been unavailable to play due to foul trouble. Brown stripped it away off of another missed free throw, but it goes right back to the Utes. Crisp onto the wing for Wilkie. Rolls around a pick. Nice, beautiful pass right back to Crisp.
It's hard to stop.
I mean, there's just been a highlight reel of offense, whether the backdoor baseline cut, that simple pick and roll, the action to lead to the easy layup early on in this quarter. Just in this quarter alone for Utah, there have been some clinical sets executed perfectly by Gavin Peterson's squad. It's fun to watch.
It is really fun to watch. You can't hate on good basketball.
So Skinner back to the line, 11 points, 3 of 11 from the floor. And the first free throw is good for Skinner. Tuesday is a massive one for Arizona State men's basketball. Bobby Hurley's squad will host Kelvin Sampson and number 6 Houston at Desert Financial Arena. The Cougars lead the Big 12 at 12-1. At least they were heading into this day. They played in Tucson and picked up the win 62-58 earlier today, as that game will be at 9 Eastern and 7 Mountain on ESPN2. Impressive win for number 6 Houston over the Arizona Wildcats earlier this afternoon. And you want to talk about a top-heavy and loaded Big 12 conference for the women's side. Same can be said on the men's side. Here's Brooke Walker. They'll kick out another 3. Why not another? And it's Wilkie capping off a magical day for Utah through 3 quarters. 16 triples through 30 minutes of play.
When the season is gonna really help their resume.
Yeah, without a doubt. And for Utah, like I said, a chance to still add on to that resume. We're going to play at West Virginia in 11 days' time in Morgantown. Here's Vieta. Using the pivot foot, missed everything. Utah shot 60% from the floor in that third quarter, 5 of 9 from 3. Trying to challenge that program record of threes, which is 21 right now. See if they can hit number 17. That's a good start. It's Crisp, who's now 2 of 2 from 3.
You know, well, teams are gonna get shots, and I know they're getting shots and they're hitting them, but what hurts is that it's not even always their first shot.
Offensive foul against Basham. 4th on the post player for ASU. And I think also the reason why this is seeming so glaring, like 17 threes a lot, don't get me wrong. It is now the most that any opponent has ever hit against Arizona State in their program history. The previous high there was 15, and that had happened 3 times, but Utah's blowing that out of the water today. Obviously, we've already said their program record is 21, but 17 of their 28 made field goals have been from downtown. Here's another one, this time off the mark. And the loose ball and a foul will go against Nevaeh Parkinson, who ran over, looked like McQueen there. So it'll be Vieta to inbound this from the baseline. Just a minute into the 4th quarter. All Utes. Interesting part, in the first meeting between these two teams, it was Utah bludgeoning ASU in the painted area. They had 52 points in the paint in that matchup. Maybe that's a reason why ASU started playing in. What a cut. Right down Main Street, Wilkie for another 2.
they're really good at finding their teammate, and not even just finding them, and being able to look for that and realize that you're being doubled, so somebody's going to be open.
Parkinson and a foul.
I mean, like we were saying, seeing a double team coming at you and then being able to control yourself falling out of bounds and find your teammate cutting towards the basket, very impressive.
Well, and it's such an experienced team. Really only Brooke Walker, the only freshman who gets main minutes. Reese Ross, a sophomore. But besides that, it's juniors and seniors throughout for Utah. And those are the kind of plays where the experience pays off. You could see that Wilkie kind of read that trouble was looming. Nearly got the layup to go that time. Cut to the basket at the right time. Skinner knocks down another. 17 now for Ty Skinner, leading the way for ASU. Arizona State trailing by 28. Their largest home loss of the year was 30 against West Virginia. This is a foul on the inside. Wilkie will go back to the line. Madison Wilkie is spelled M-A-T-Y-S-O-N. Interesting spelling. Well, her dad is Matthew, her mom is Allison. They mixed the two names to get Madison.
Okay, I was like, why is that it? Okay, creative.
Kind of cool, right?
Yeah.
Out of Beaver Dam, Wisconsin. Did not play in the first meeting between these two teams. Mentioned it earlier, transfer from Wisconsin. I have no idea what we're looking at here. I don't want to even describe it. Second free throw is good for Wilkie.
Our worst nightmare.
Correct. Correct. Wilkie now with 13. 3 Utes in double figures, led by Gianna Neepkins with 24. Wilkie with 13, and Kennedy McQueen with 20. Just 2 shy of a career high. Brown, physical take. And a late foul will be called. Talked a lot about the closing stretch for Utah. Meanwhile, for Arizona State, they'll see number 11 TCU on Wednesday at Mullet Arena across the street. Haley Van Lith will be in the building. Then they'll travel to Provo to take on a BYU squad that they played in their last home game. BYU won that game by 10. 3 here for Levette, way off the mark. Just closing out the regular season for ASU with those two, and then of course their regular season finale against Arizona in this building. Turnover here on Utah. Utes have taken care of the ball for the most part. 10 giveaways now in this game. Same total as Arizona State. Trio of Utes set to check back in at the next whistle. It's Parkinson falling down out of play, and it will be Utah ball.
This is a tough game, but this is a critical point for Arizona State. They're going to have to band together and really be there for each other in moments like that as well. Those will play a difference in your team energy, your team morale. Like, the scoreboard's not fun, but you have to play through it.
Yeah, and unfortunately for ASU, that's been a string of tough games, clearly in Big 12 play. We've mentioned the injury issues they've had. Teray on the turnaround, can't get it to go. But this is such a tough league. There are no easy games, if you will. Basham, that's a nice post move, but couldn't finish. And that's kind of been the day so far for Basham. 0 of 4, mired by foul trouble. Played just 13 minutes. Here's Teray. Started off the game really well. Hooks herself around Basham and lays it up and in. An easy bucket for Teray, who's now up into the double-figure club with 10.
And you called it there, her hook around. That's the space that she's closing that Kennedy or whoever's going against Teray needs to give her so that they can keep her in front. Otherwise, it's just a really quick spin, easy basket, yeah.
Well, and it's one of those things as well. You'll get that call sometimes as a defender. That's a hard foul, and Vieta appears to be okay. There's a reason why she's wearing those 2 knee pads. She is constantly...
I was a knee pad wearer as well.
She's constantly in the action. In fact, her nickname is Mosquito. She's nonstop, persistent. She's a pest. This time she was fouled hard by Levette.
Yeah, and it didn't look like anything malicious there. Definitely a little gassed on the defensive end, which is why I think they kind of collided. But good job pushing to get to the basket and get that foul.
Yeah, that's a compliment to be called Mosquito, by the way.
Yeah, she's not someone I would want to play against.
No. And I think her value, and we kind of talked about this earlier, Arnesia, her value, it doesn't come in scoring, but frankly, that's not where they need her to be an elite type contributor. She's their best defender. She is also their leading assist getter, 2 straight years, 5 a game this year, and in this game, she has been right on her average with 5 dimes as well. I mean, that is her role, and she knows it so well. First free throw by Ross is good.
Have you ever heard the saying, the sum of the parts is the whole? Is that the saying? The sum of the parts. It's one of my favorite sayings,
yeah.
but I never know how to say it.
I got your point. I've definitely seen the saying.
The sum of each part is the whole, but that's huge in sports, in anything really. Right. Like being able to assemble pieces of a puzzle that you need to make everything work and everybody has a job to do. That's important, and it helps build this foundation that we're seeing Utah be able to
and to get people to buy into those roles, because let's face it, obviously someone like Vieta believes in that role and is fine with that role. As Levette might have gotten banged up, unfortunately for ASU. This is the last thing Arizona State can really bear, is Jai Levette exiting the game. 8 points in 30 minutes for Levette, and they'll bring in Novosel for the first time. Addison Novosel, the senior from Richfield, Ohio. But to get people to buy into that role, finishing off the point, that's not easy. And when you get that, that's when you can have really special seasons.
And you mentioned it earlier, too, I believe, with Ross. You were saying she knows her role. She's really excited to be in that role. And that's huge. And it's not downplaying anybody's contribution to the team at all, but that's how you assemble a team. Everybody does their job.
McQueen will drive and kick, thrown down low. Look at this ball movement yet again. I mean, it's just gorgeous. Teray with another deuce. A dozen for the post player. .435 to go. Main question now is, does Utah hit the century mark for a second time against ASU? 11 points away, 4:30 to go.
Sorry, you stumped me there. It was like the century mark.
It's a jump ball call, and it will take us to a timeout on the floor. 4:25 to go. It's all Utes. Arizona State, 8:30 Eastern, 6:30 Mountain, right here on ESPN+. Playing out the stretch, 4:25 to go from Desert Financial Arena in Tempe. Brayden Bell, Arnesia Hawkins on the call, and the Utes just continue to add on to their lead. Kennedy Basham hits her first field goal of the day, but Utah outscoring Arizona State 13-6 now in this fourth quarter. And remember that point total of 23 per quarter. They're now 7 of 7 against ASU this year, hitting at least 23 points. They did so in the first matchup. 23 was the lowest point total they hit in that game. So far, the line score in this one, 23 points in the first quarter, 26 in the second, 27 in the third. 4:16 to go. They only have 13 here in the fourth.
Okay. They still have time. If I was on the bench, I'd be like, let's feed it, but...
I'm going to go ahead and guess that Gavin Peterson and none of those players, they have no idea that is a thing, nor do they care. Back-to-back field goals for Basham. They're just happy they're in front, and they get to hop on a charter, fly back to snowy and cold Salt Lake City, where I understand it's been dumping buckets of snow over the past couple of days. A 3 by Wilkie. Why not another? 16 points now for the junior.
Going back to the snows definitely is the worst part, I'm sure.
Yes, it's humbling. Layup won't go for Brown, and a foul will be called on Jaylen Brown. Be her first. It's 37 degrees right now in Salt Lake City, and it is a balmy 70 when we step outside of the arena in about, I don't know, 15 minutes or so. I'll take it.
I would.
Some people like the snow, though.
I like to visit it.
Okay. You were
feel
born
like I
and
would
raised
want to
here.
live in it, maybe, but I just know it's a lot of work, and it's easy to say when I'm living here.
Yes. Well, and our production staff centered back in Kansas City just heard that, did I hear correctly, a high of 5 degrees in Kansas City?
5?
Tuesday's a high of 5.
Yeah.
See, now that's an immediate no for me.
This is why all of my friends get upset with me if I post that I need a fire in 60-degree weather.
Well, the funny part is yesterday, in full transparency, I was doing baseball over at Phoenix Muni. I brought 3 jackets, and it did not get below 60.
You brought 3?
I didn't use them, but I brought them.
That's hilarious.
Sad. I'm a native Utah, 18-year-old me would be very disappointed with that, but it happens. The blood thins. That's what they say. You move to the valley. 33-point Utah lead. ASU's largest home loss was 39 points a few years ago. Hoping that doesn't come into play. Here's Brown. Couldn't finish. Basham was fouled, and 2 more free throws for Sun Devil post play. You know, the worst to me, though, I mean, we're going to just keep going with this weather topic, I guess.
Okay.
When it's cold and windy, there's nothing worse, obviously, than that. And I fear that's maybe what's making it, what's going to make it even worse for our friends in KC, the wind chill.
Yeah, I can't say I've had to deal with that a lot in my life.
It actually hurts, Arnesia.
Yeah.
Like, it genuinely hurts to walk outside.
That's what I hear.
Like Chicago, obviously the windy city, they deal with the wind.
I just tell everyone on the East Coast that they're dramatic.
But no, we are the dramatic ones. We are the soft ones. Ray into the game. Kylie Ray, freshman out of Southern California. She's not used to the cold. It's Walker now driving and kicking out. Stay tuned for more weather updates after the game. We'll have a special podcast that'll drop or something maybe. Foul inside, and we talked about how this game had been relatively clean for the most part, and then of course go figure down the stretch in a 30-point game we're finally seeing some whistles. So Reese Ross back to the line. Consistency, that's the name of her game. Missed the first free throw. 8 points, 5.5 boards. Grew up in competitive bowling, did Reese Reed. Between the ages of 7 and 13, her best score, 242.
Wow.
And that was at the age of 13.
Competitive bowling, that sounds fun.
It does. Well, it's intense, I can tell you that. More, 3 top of the key, no good. It's similar to golf or tennis. It's a solo sport, obviously, so it's just you out there. You don't get to rely on teammates.
Interesting. I think my highest score was like a... Wait, what's the highest you can get?
Perfect 300.
300? Yeah, okay. My highest score was only like 130.
That's still pretty good. Okay, they're trying to steer us back to gameplay. We take a look at Big 12 bracketology. We don't have bowling bracketology for you, so we'll go to this. Kansas State, TCU, both as 3 seeds. There you see Utah as a 6 seed projected right now, but we've already told you a bunch of times they could potentially move up in terms of, you know, their seed line. Then you got Iowa State, Arizona, and Colorado. They're all firmly on the bubble. And this time of year when you're on the bubble, it's got to just be tension, day in and day out. You know that each and every game could make or break your tournament chances.
Yeah, but honestly, you have to think that way the entire season anyway. I know, obviously, it's obvious when you're not in that position, but just every game counts. And hopefully you don't get put in that position or end up on the outside.
Basham's had a solid closeout to this ball game. 7.6 boards now for Basham in 18 minutes. And an offensive foul. Yeah, the whistles are coming in play here, closing stretch. Utah averages 9.8 made threes per game. They take in, make the most threes in the Big 12, so it wasn't shocking to see what they did today, but it was the barrage they started off with, and the percentage still 56% from downtown, 18 of 32. And another foul is called. Free throws with a $1:19 to go.
It would be interesting to see what Utah could do if they just stayed in that zone that we saw.
Oh, yeah.
For, like, what do you think?
Right, yeah, the pace, and obviously they removed a bunch of their starters here down the stretch, understandably
yeah, I mean,
so.
naturally, yeah.
But yeah, if they were to have continued at the same pace with the normal personnel out there, if you will, how many threes could they have hit? 5 points away from eclipsing 100. And it's Wilkie back to the line. 17 points in 19 minutes for Wilkie. Now just one shy of her season high. She had 19 against McNeese State. Nearing a minute to play in this one. Novosel has her three blocked away. That was crisp, solid defensive play. Just the second block today for Utah. Basham out of control and couldn't hit. Sal pulled down the board. This building will fill up in just over 2 hours for the men's game. Talk a lot about TCU's women's team. It'll be the men's team taking on Bobby Hurley and the Sun Devils. 6 local time. Why don't we shoot some more free throws, huh?
Is this the first time Arizona State and TCU are matching up on the men's side?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, first time in the regular season. They played in the NCAA tournament, if you remember, a couple of years ago.
Oh, yeah, true.
In what was a wild game that TCU came back and ended up winning on St. Patrick's Day. I only remember that because there was a lot of sad Sun Devil fans wearing green, and that will be the second half of our DFA doubleheader. Both teams had close calls the other night. ASU battled number 12 Texas Tech in a double overtime in Lubbock before falling in that game. TCU hit a wild off a tip 3 to stun Oklahoma State in Fort Worth. 8 Eastern, 6 Mountain. We won't be here, but you should be wherever you are at home. Here's Brown. Utah can dribble out the clock if they so choose. Well, the Utes, they've got more offensive firepower than just about anyone in the country. And they had it all rolling today in Tempe. 53% from the floor. They hit 18 threes at a 56% clip. And they stormed past Arizona State to win their 7th straight. 98-62 the final score. The Utes appear to be rocking and rolling at the right time of the year, and now all eyes look forward to their next game against number 20 Oklahoma State coming up on